Hello and welcome back, college sports fans. I'm the college sports super fan, and today we're going to be getting into my predictions for what I think the committee is going to choose for the college football playoff tomorrow night, heading into these conference title games. I am so excited because we're going to have some great matchups. And honestly, I don't think there's going to be a crazy amount of controversy. Obviously, for that last spot in, that last team in, there's going to be a little bit of controversy. Again, I don't think it's going to be anything too crazy this year. So let's just start it off. Let me get right into my rankings. Number one, Oregon. No surprise, undefeated team, 12 and 0. Going to the Big Ten championship, they're the only undefeated team in the regular season. They've been number one multiple weeks in a row. That's not going to change. Number two, Texas. The Longhorns move up to number two. They were the number two seed, anyways, but now they are going to be number two overall and also the number two seed. They just looked really, really good against Texas A&M. That defense was elite. Yes, the offense has slowed down a little bit, but the Longhorns proved they could win games in many different ways. Number three, SMU. Obviously, this makes perfect sense. SMU is taking over for where Miami was as the leader of the ACC, which is still being considered to be the third highest ranked conference champion. The SMU Mustangs would be the 3 seed. The 4 seed, of course, Boise State. And if they can win the Mountain West Conference, they will stay in that 4 seed and be in the college football playoff. If they lose, maybe not. And I'll talk about that in another video I'll have coming out soon with my conference title predictions. All right, so those are the top 4 seeds. They got automatic first round buys. But what about after that? 5 seed, Notre Dame. Notre Dame's number 5 overall. I strongly believe they're going to end up being the 5 seed. This was a spot that would have belonged to Ohio State, but due to that blunder in the game, we'll have to get to see where they end up falling. But Notre Dame, they're a dangerous team, great defense, and they deserve to be the 5 seed. The 6 seed is going to be Penn State. Penn State, if you're Penn State, you like this position here. You win the Big Ten championship, and you get to either be the number 1 or number 2, and you have a first round bye. Even if you lose, you're going to end up being the 6 seed still. I don't think they fall any further than 7, to be honest. I think no matter what, Penn State is at least going to host a playoff game, just like Notre Dame. Number 7, Georgia. Same thing as Penn State. You beat Texas, you get a first round bye. You lose to Texas, you're not going to drop at all in the rankings. You're still going to be at number 7 and get to host a playoff game. So if you're Oregon, Texas, Penn State, Georgia, Notre Dame, you got to be feeling really good about everything heading into these playoffs because you feel like no matter what, you're either going to have a first round bye or you're going to at least host a playoff game. And number 8, the last team that is going to get to host a playoff game is the Tennessee Volunteers. And this is thanks to Ohio State's blunder that Tennessee is going to be able to move up. They were 1 spot below in the last rankings. Thanks to that upset, Tennessee moves into a hosting position, and I think they're going to keep it no matter what. Number 9, who would Tennessee play in the playoffs? Ohio State. I feel pretty good about this one right here. I think the Buckeyes are going to have to go on the road in the postseason. Some people think that despite their loss, they're still going to be able to at least host a playoff game. I got to be honest, I don't see it. There has to be a serious consequence for losing a game to a mediocre team this late in the season. I don't think Ohio State's going to be knocked out of the playoffs. I think no matter what, at this point, they are in. But they're going to have to go on the road now. I think they're going to have to go to a raucous Neyland Stadium in December. So who's Georgia going to host? Well, they're going to host Indiana. Indiana, I have as the 10 seed. I feel very good about this. The Hoosiers, I think, are going to make the playoffs no matter what at this point. They're really not on the bubble to me very much at all. I feel very strongly about Indiana making it, but having to go on the road. I think they're going to have to head to Athens to take on the not the defending national champions, but previously the 2-time defending national champions before last year, as they're going for their 3rd in the last 4 years. This Georgia team hasn't looked the strongest. I think there is possibility for an Indiana upset. However, after what we saw with the Hoosiers' performance against Ohio State, Not super high expectations, but I think Indiana could possibly keep this one close. All right, now for the 12 seed, I'm going to say this one first just to hold out the hype and expectations a little bit longer. But the 12 seed, of course, is going to be Arizona State, the current slight favorite to win the Big 12. But no matter what, whoever ends up winning the Big 12 title will be the 12 seed unless UNLV upsets Boise State. Then UNLV will be the 12 seed, and the Big 12 champ will move up to that 4 seed. I strongly believe it. All right, now for the 11th seed. Who is the last team? Who's the last team that gets into the college football playoff, according to the college sports superfan, and why? Well, I think it's going to be South Carolina. I truly believe it. I think the South Carolina Gamecocks are going to be the 11th seed. I have Alabama as the 13, just barely missing the playoff. And then I have Miami as the 14, and then Ole Miss as the 15. Why do I have it this way? You might be wondering. Well, South Carolina's on a 6-game winning streak. Their defense has looked really strong. Alabama does have the more explosive offense, but Lenora Sellers is really coming into his own late in the season. And South Carolina's got incredible special teams. And to go along with that winning streak, they also got a ranked win on the road, beating Clemson 17-14 in Death Valley. That's extremely impressive. A Clemson team that could still make it to the playoff if they upset SMU in the ACC title. Meanwhile, Alabama, yes, there's a case for them too because they beat South Carolina. They have the head to head victory, which is very important. However, Alabama lost to Oklahoma 24-3, who was 5-5 at the time. And I'm sorry, every single time a team has lost to a mediocre team late in the season, especially a loss like that, 24-3. And not only that, but Alabama also did not look very impressive in their Iron Bowl win over Auburn. Auburn is a losing record. They're not going to a bowl game, and you'd expect Alabama to win by at least 20 points, and the Crimson Tide only won by 14 points at home. That's not very impressive either. So the way Alabama is finishing the season compared to the way South Carolina is finishing the season, in my opinion, if I was on the committee, I would put the Gamecocks in. Even though I hate personally to put a team with 3 losses in the college football playoff, I was almost tempted to still put Miami in this spot, but I also feel like Miami has had way too many close games. Finally, it's bit them, and I think they're just not going to have the opportunity to get back up. South Carolina also beats Miami and having a way tougher strength of schedule as well in comparison to the Hurricanes, and I think that has to matter. So, yes, that is my prediction. I have South Carolina getting in over Alabama. But of course, there's a lot of politicking going on, and Alabama is a much more popular team. And I hate that that has to be a factor. But if that turns out to be a driving factor, then yes, they'll let Alabama in over South Carolina. But me personally, I think the Gamecocks should get the nod over the Crimson Tide. All right, let me know what your guys' thoughts is down in the comments below. And I'll be coming out with another video really soon breaking down the conference championship games and who I think is going to end up winning those conference championship games and how those are going to affect the college football playoff. Thank you all so much for watching. Stay tuned. Hit that notification bell if you like this content and continue to support the College Sports Superfan.